Support WrestleTalk!
Tell a friend.
Hello and welcome to WrestleRamble. This is Luke Owen, I'm Ollie Davis, and today we're talking news. Big news from this week of crazy news, like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens being sent home from the SmackDown tour of Europe, like AJ Styles winning the championship, John Cena joining Team SmackDown, and all of the Survivor Series changes that appear to have happened over the last 7 days. We'll also be getting to a few of your comments, and we will have our first ever Wrestlecrate mystery unboxing. Ooh, you can go straight to any of those discussions by clicking the timestamps in the video description below, or stay right here, where if you indulge us for a moment, we're going to gloat about 400,000 subscribers.
We should have brought party poppers in.
We do have those in the studio, but we
out
didn't
there.
do that.
We're in the control room.
But yeah, isn't that good?
That's exciting, man, because we were literally just talking yesterday about how we were going to do that, because then it's the drive to 500,000.
Yeah, get it trending, folks. We want that, the most clunkiest of hashtags. I hate it when you see, like Raw has it all the time and WWE programming. A pretty neat looking hashtag in the top to boost the social media influencers.
You can join the conversation with hashtag women's title.
Yeah, and sometimes they're not that succinct. It's like hashtag Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship this Monday.
It's easier now. You've got 280 characters.
Well, that's it. And we're taking advantage of that by having 100 plus something hashtag. That in old Twitter times, that would take up everything.
It would. You'd be able to put that in, and probably in an emoji, and that'd be it.
And which emoji would that be? Flamingo Lady, of course.
No,
She's my favourite.
I would go with eyes with hearts.
You are dead to me inside. So we've got a few bits of viewer feedback. Of course, by the way, this is the drive to 500,000 subscribers now. So please click the subscribe button if you haven't already.
And
because
also,
if you do and you're already subscribed, it will unsubscribe you.
And the little thumbs up.
Oh yeah, the thumbs up's nice.
Yeah.
We're getting good at the plugs.
Exactly, and obviously leave your comments below if we do happen to make a mistake, which, let's be honest, very rarely happens. But sometimes goofs and gaffes do happen, so let us know in the comments below, and we'll pick them up and bring them up in the next episode.
Yeah, and not just mistakes, although it mostly is feedback on mistakes we've made.
Yep.
But just interesting discussion points you want to put in there as well. So kick us off with some viewer feedback, Luke.
Well, I thought the most...
Sorry, we need a better name for this.
Well, the viewer feedback.
We need the SWAF Nation to help us out on this little new segment we've got.
Yeah, because how did this get made? Call it feedback and omissions, I think. Oh, no, mistakes and omissions or something like that.
That's like a standard newspaper thing, isn't it?
Yes.
They have that little section.
That's
in the newspaper.
right, yeah. So, yeah, if you have a good title, leave it in the comments below and we'll pick one. Maybe we'll look at them.
Botch section.
Yeah.
Botch
Luke and Ollie do a botch. Botch Squad's good. I like Botch
Squad.
Yeah. Is that encroaching on Matthew, though?
Yeah, it could be. Does he own the word botch? Botch was around before Matthew.
Well, it was, yeah, but like botch is now synonymous with Matthew.
But okay, botch a wild. Botch a wild squad.
No, what we should do is really just rather than do WrestleMania, we need to pick a different pay-per-view name.
Botch Slam.
Yeah, exactly, like Botcha Slam.
Botch Series. King of the Botch.
Botcha Rumble.
Yeah.
Wrestle Botch.
Great Balls of Botch. That's it, isn't it? Great Botch of Fire or Great Balls of... Great Balls of Botch,
yeah, let's be honest.
So
in this week's Great Balls of Botch, or this episode's Great Balls of Botch, yesterday we were talking about Team Bad, talking about Sasha Banks' debut on the main roster, and I couldn't remember who the third member of Team Bad was, and I'll be honest, I thought my rant about AJ Styles winning the championship would be the most contentious thing in yesterday's video, but I was wrong. It was not remembering Naomi was part of that team was the most contentious thing in the video. People were very upset with that.
Yeah, everyone remembers, of course, the memorable faction war of the women's division.
Oh, God, it was so memorable.
I'm always up for factions. We both love factions. I think it's such a good way of telling stories in wrestling and sort of the political maneuvering and allegiances you have. But when it happens in the women's division, it's quite transparently just a way to get everyone on TV.
Well, yeah, the way they did it, like with the Divas Revolution, as it was originally branded then, it was essentially Stephanie McMahon was a child playing with her dolls. She came out and she said, okay, you three are friends, you three are friends, you three are friends, and now you all have fights together. And essentially she was just doing that. It was awful. What a dreadful way to debut all those new characters. Just to hodgepodge these teams together to have these rubbish storylines. But yeah, Team Bad was, of course, Sasha Banks, Tamina, and Naomi.
Of course.
Of course. Do you remember the other teams?
Team Good.
Yeah.
No, it was Team Bellas.
Yeah.
And, Jesus.
They were, because they were then Team PCB.
Oh,
because they were sorority
Paige,
sisters,
Charlotte,
weren't they?
and
Becky.
Bailey. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was Becky, yeah. Bailey wasn't up by then.
Were they sorority sisters at first? They were given some sort of title until it turned out it was like a porn thing.
Was it PCB?
Yeah. No. So they had a name, like original one, and then it turned out it was also the name of a very successful porn series. So they had
Who
to
would have
change
thought
it.
Team Bukaki would have been a thing like that? What's the next? What's the next bit of viewer
Cuckold.
feedback?
The next one is Jeff Jarrett, of course, did use his guitar in WWF. I said it was more of a WCW thing, which was true. It was more of a WCW thing, but he did. Of course, how could I forget the classic good house cleaning match for the Intercontinental Championship, where China used the guitar on Jeff Jarrett, and the referee called the match off because that's not a good house cleaning weapon. To which Jerry Lawler has the amazing line. He said, "That's not a household item," and Jerry Lawler goes, "It is in the Jarrett household."
Yeah, well,
he's not wrong.
It's all relative, isn't it?
Exactly.
And you've got someone who's they've disagreed with you.
Yeah, I just thought it would be interesting to bring this up. So
I'm worried that Great Balls of Botch is going to become Luke disagreeing with other
it's not
people.
Disagreeing. It's opening a discussion.
Sure.
I have said something. Someone has said something back. That's how a discussion
Cool.
works. So Gierperson, who was actually one of our Patreon backers,
He's a good guy.
He's a good
Chairman
guy.
of the board, I believe.
Chairman of the board. He said, "I love all these title changes, unlike Luke, because it makes WWE feel unpredictable again, like it was back in the old days." He says in quotation marks. Just wonder what you thought about this.
So it certainly makes it feel unpredictable, but in the way that it's run by a madman who changes his mind a lot. It's kind of, I always use the analogy of Tommy Cooper, who was a British sort of vaudeville style comedian. He was a comedian and he was a magician, and he did a lot of stuff on TV in the 80s and 90s, probably way before then as well. And his gimmick was that he was a bad magician, and he'd start to do tricks, and the tricks would go wrong, but they were still incredibly impressive because he was doing magic, but it was just not the magic he set out to be, and he was acting all flustered as he does it. And everyone was like, "Ha, Tommy Cooper's a bad magician." Funny thing is, to do that act, he has to be an incredible magician. And it's similar to the unpredictability thing. You want your product to feel unpredictable. Just like how Monday Night, that was Eric Bischoff's big remit for the Nitro series when it went live against Raw, was he wanted everything to feel like it was spontaneous and happening. You couldn't miss it. It was live. But you actually need quite a lot of skill and planning to make stuff feel unpredictable and work. You know, has that narrative satisfaction at the same time. So, what's happening in WWE right now doesn't feel unpredictable in that good way. The results are good. Like, I'm happy AJ's champion and Jinder isn't, but it's not the sort of unpredictability that you would have, say, in Breaking Bad, where I don't know what's going to happen next because this is such a good show. It's smarter than me.
Yeah,
wrestling or WWE tends to be worse than that. Ring of Honor are pretty good. Well, they used to be when Cornette had the book, I think. They would do a lot of surprise finishes of just sudden knockouts. And after a while, it became like, oh, I don't know when this match is going to end. It could end on just a random stray fist. I personally really enjoyed that. A lot of people didn't, though. What do you think?
Well, no, I agree, and I liken it to a TV series. So a TV series has a start point, it has an end. Something like a 24, for example, or a Stranger Things. I'll use 24 as an example. 24,
though, has a start at hour 1 and then an end at hour 18, and then 6 episodes of just filler, where everyone comes back.
Yeah,
and there's a final act bit.
Perhaps that's a good example then, because say that it's set over a 24-hour period. If you don't remember the show 24, which was good for the first 3 seasons, then got very, very bad. Maybe it's first 4 seasons. But the idea would be that you would start at hour 1 and then you'd end at hour 24, and that's when you'd have your big climax. That's the finale of your story. I like that. That's wrestling storylines. Now, the show could have ended at hour 10, because that would be unpredictable. You wouldn't have seen it coming. But that doesn't mean it's a good thing. because like that's like that storyline just feels unfinished now. It feels like we just rushed to get to this point. And it's Stranger Things. And what if they just defeated the monster at episode 5? And it was like, that's that done then. I mean, you didn't see it coming, but that doesn't make it a good thing.
I agree with the sentiment, but I disagree with the example because the series are very. I mean, wrestling is quite unique. I would say because even comic books, which are a monthly ongoing thing, they very rigidly adhere to a 6-issue arc, 12. It's multiples of 6 really. How comic books are structured from month to month. I think it's more like a soap, where you just have things that happen over and over again, and you have storylines, but storylines, just sort of ebb and flow, and sometimes they peak over here. It could go wherever.
Yeah, no, I get that, but like my thing, like if a storyline, so say like the Randy Orton Jinder Mahal storyline that's a season, and then you move those same characters, then move on into another series. The same way in soaps, you have a storyline, then that storyline ends, and you move into your next storyline. So you can argue that is kind of like seasons upon seasons. It's just that there's no gap between those seasons. The other example to look at is WCW in 2000, where their whole thing, looks at with Vince Russo in charge, was just like unpredictability. Let's just change titles all the time, because then no one will know, like no one will expect anything. Like they'll have to tune in every time to see if the title changes hands again. Problem with that is then that title became incredibly devalued, and no one cared when titles changes because, I saw a title change last week, so what's the big deal?
Yeah, that's the real problem, hot shot booking. But hey, talking of unpredictability, shall we get into a crazy week of wrestling news? Now, we are recording this on Thursday because it goes live on Friday for Patreon people, and then Saturday for everyone else. Little cheap plug for the Patreon people there. If you want this a day early, go over there and pledge for the month.
$5 or more.
And you also get the exclusive podcast.
You do indeed.
Which is brilliant. Where we review old pay-per-views chosen by you. But we're hoping nothing else is going to break in the several hours. I mean, it's just been a crazy several weeks.
Well, this could be the sort of thing where we're going to talk about this story now, and by the time we leave this booth, the story will have blown out into something else, especially because the Wrestling Observer newsletter is out tomorrow, so there must be some extra bits and pieces within that. So we may find out some more details by the time this video goes up.
So this is about Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn getting sent home from the SmackDown European tour
last night
after the Tuesday taping of SmackDown. Apparently what happened, so I'm cobbling together loads of different reports. The main ones are Pro Wrestling Sheet and PW Insider. They're the main people who have reported this, but F4W Online and Wrestling Observer have sort of corroborated it, but those two people led the charge. And Sports Illustrated a bit as well, but they're really losing credence with me. They say everything they report seems to be not true after a while. Yeah,
interesting.
What
was the last example?
Oh, well, the Nia Jax stuff. Walked out, pay issues, The Rock. And Meltzer said no, the creative didn't have anything for her. She asked for time off, so to heal up from injuries.
Yeah,
that's what Nia said. There could always be something separate to that, but it's lots of things like that that have come out. So, after, of course, on the SmackDown opened with Shane McMahon and the New Day in the ring, and they're doing their booty thing. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn come out. It turns into a match between Kofi Kingston and Sami Zayn. There's a weird finish, like we talked about it in the Raw and SmackDown review, where Kofi just hops off the top, beats Sami with a crossbody. Sami, who just turned heel, he's on this fresh, great run. He's had a few really decent victories over people. I think there was the tag match victory over Randy Orton, and then Orton beat him back with a low blow, so he didn't lose clean.
And it was a payoff for the previous match where Sami won with a low blow.
So that was a disappointing loss out of nowhere. It seems like New Day are being built up for this Shield thing, so that was, I guess, the reason behind it. Then Kevin Owens runs into the ring and starts beating up Kofi. This is all going to plan up until this point. What's meant to happen then is the rest of the New Day get in and fight off Sami and Kevin Owens, and they have a full-on little bump and feed thing so New Day look good. There's probably a minute of a New Day getting the better of Owens and Zayn. But instead of that, Owens and Zayn bailed from the ring. Sami's on the outside on the barricade, and he sort of punches the barricade. Presumably, when you watch it, you're like, oh, because he lost against Kofi. and maybe you're just projecting because you know this resulted in them being sent home, but it does look like Sami's both angry and a little bit confused and apprehensive, because there's a bit where he looks over at Kevin, and it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it.
Yeah.
Owens goes up to the entrance ramp, and then the two walk off, and there is a bit of a weird bit where Woods and Big E are standing there, and they're sort of like, come on, and the music doesn't play until a little bit after.
I remember watching it at the time thinking, this is mad awkward.
But, tape shows are like that sometimes. They're all a bit off anyway, so didn't put any stock into it. But yeah, it seems that, and possibly, according to PW Insider, Kevin Owens complaining very loudly on the coach afterwards, back to the hotel, I presume, and lots of little bits like that, like Zayn and Owens being not the best to work with in recent weeks. Vince McMahon, this is Sports Illustrated now, approved the decision to send Owens and Zayn home. So they're missing the next 5 dates. The European tour ends on Sunday, but they've been sent home early.
Yeah, this is interesting, really, isn't it? Because you look at the exodus of Neville and Austin Aries, unhappy with creative. And as you quite rightly said on Twitter today, you look at the success of Cody Rhodes outside. But I think, we've had this conversation before. For every Cody Rhodes, you have a Ryback, someone, or a Jack Swagger or something like that. Someone who could have, had not a name background with them. But then when they actually went to the independents, no one really cared. But I think if you're someone like Zayn or Kevin Owens, you're like, well, I mean, I've got name recognition from WWE, but also I was a big star in Ring of Honor anyway. All my friends are there, so I can easily just walk back into a job in Ring of Honor. So, yeah, maybe they are just looking at the Cody situation, looking at all the great stuff the Young Bucks are doing, and just being like, I'm being creatively stifled here. I want to go and be creatively free. The guy that I was working so closely with, one of my best friends, has now been fired for the simple act of taking a selfie. Maybe I need to get out of here.
So, a couple of months back, before the whole Bullet Club picture outside of Raw and the invasion thing happened, there was an episode of Being the Elite, which is the Young Bucks YouTube series. It's very good. It's out weekly. And they were hanging out in Canada. They had a show up there. I can't remember which one. But in the background, when they're just saying, oh, look, we're here in Canada. This is really nice to be here. I wonder these are the shows that we've got coming up. Kevin Owens walks across the street behind them, sort of stands right in the middle of the camera, looks around, and then goes, oh yeah, and walks off. So it's like, oh, there's a fun little cameo. Later on, Sami Zayn pops in as they're talking again, goes, sorry, have you got the time? And he says, yeah, it's this time. And Sami Zayn, thank you, thanks, and runs off. And there's also AJ Styles just hanging out in the back of shot in one of them.
Yeah.
So these guys, they're all friends. That you've got the WWE guys who have spent all their life in WWE, and then you've got this new faction of everyone who came up in the Ring of Honor and sort of PWG area, and they all seem to hang out too.
Yeah.
And Cody was the WWE bracket, spent all his career in WWE. That's why he can't use the name Cody Rhodes outside of it, even though that's his father's name. It's a murky one.
Yep.
But he has now transitioned to the Ring of Honor, New Japan, not PWG, but that sort of crowd. So, and that he's doing very well financially for himself, from what I understand. So is Austin Aries. Apparently that was one of the reasons Neville left, because he found out that Aries was making more money than him in 6 weeks than Neville had made doing the WWE grueling schedule for 3 months.
And there's Kevin Owens actually sent out a tweet just a couple of days ago while they were in Madrid that whether or not it's him playing up to his heel persona or not, with the news we have now, certainly does feel like it's something, where he just said, can't believe the amount of idiots that were out in WWE Madrid tonight. I can't wait to go home.
Yeah, so Owens is like that on social media.
Yeah, he is. And sometimes you feel like he is playing up to his heel persona, but there are other times when you're like, there feels like there's a nugget of truth behind the words that you're saying here.
Or maybe there's a nugget of kayfabe. This is the other sort of reason that it could be.
Some people who believe it's a shoot.
Or a work, you mean?
Yes, a work, rather.
Yeah. So, this kind of fits in with the current storyline. Owens and Zayn are persona non grata on SmackDown at the moment. They're feuding with the commissioner. Maybe they've got sent home. all the dirt sheets and us, we report on it and go like, wow. And then at Survivor Series, when they return to cost SmackDown the 5-on-5 elimination match, it's all the more shocking.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it'd be interesting to see how this one plays out. But I mean, I just, I want the best for everyone. And if they think that it's better for them to leave their company, and Owens is very much a family man. He's a man who likes spending time with his family. Working the WWE schedule doesn't really allow that, particularly. Although he and Sami are going to be fine because they won't have to work Christmas Day, but they will have to work Boxing Day and New Year's Day. Because I mean, man, that sucks that everyone's got to work Christmas Day. That really does suck.
We're not.
No, we're not.
We're not going to do that.
No. As much as we love the SWAF Nation, I have got turkey to eat. It's one of the few days of the year that I'm not vegan, so I got turkey and pigs in blankets to eat.
Yummy. So we were talking, me and Luke, outside, whether, because a lot of people they could, when Emma left, it was like, Emma could join the Bullet Club. It seems like as soon as Owens, if they do go, everyone will go, they can join the Bullet Club. And we were saying, make a new faction.
Yeah.
The Bullet Club are cool enough by themselves. You don't want to NWO it, where you just have everyone join the group. You want to have the separate ones. The NWO Wars, we had the NWO Wolfpack. Just have a different faction that goes against the Bullet Club. Someone said to me in the comments the other day, if Daniel Bryan leaves in 2018, should he join the Bullet Club? And I was like, well, no, because Daniel Bryan's the greatest babyface, so surely he should be going against the villainous Bullet Club. I'm just saying, that's how I would book it in New Japan or Ring of Honor, wherever, like a Daniel Bryan, Kenny Omega match like that. And that's the only way you could position Bullet Club as proper heels again, I think, because they're so cool and tweeners now. Maybe in 3 months, if whatever happens, Owens, Zayn, or I should say Steen, Generico, and Neville, Pac, which was his independent name, walk into Ring of Honor as this new trio. Ring of Honor, you have that. You have the Bullet Club. You've got amazing performers like Jay Lethal and Dalton Castle, Silas Young, and it's like, if Sinclair put a bit more money into it, I don't know. I'm getting
you're fantasy booking this now.
What about AJ winning the championship and that bumping John Cena to the Survivor Series team?
It does, yeah. So these two stories kind of mix in together, really, don't they? But it's an interesting one. The AJ Styles win on Tuesday, as we talked about yesterday, felt like it came out of nowhere, really. It was announced middle of last week that they were going to have the championship match. And I believe it's Dave Meltzer said that this thing wasn't even planned until a week ago. The people that need to know, they only found out this week. So as we said, or speculated yesterday, I suppose, this was very much a last-minute decision. Almost as I said, Vince McMahon just woke up and was like, oh, God, we're doing Brock versus Jinder at Survivor Series. Can't do that. Put the title on AJ. That's a much better match. We'll do that instead. What about John Cena? We'll put him in the Survivor Series match. There you go. That's that card filled now.
And to his credit, it's made a much better card.
So much better card.
If you want Luke's more in-depth thoughts on it, on Saturday a video is going up.
I do indeed.
Yours, of all that. Now, a lot of people have been like, Jinder was advertised as a 2-time champion in December for the India tour, and that was back when he was feuding with Shinsuke Nakamura, and they're like, maybe Jinder's going to win it back. This is how they get the 2-time thing. Don't pay attention to that anymore, because that was back in August. This decision was literally made Thursday.
Yeah, and a few people have sent me images from the India tour itself, which still advertises Jinder as champions. It's, as always with any live show, card subject to change.
Yeah, it's just out of date. My hot tip, I think, for Survivor Series is another I think there's going to be another change. And I think it's going to be Alexa Bliss versus Charlotte.
Yeah, and slide Natty into that women's match instead.
Potentially.
Yeah. But she'd have to, because they haven't got a spot open. Unless Lana goes into that spot, I guess.
Or Ellsworth.
Yeah. I mean, he was the very first women's Money in the Bank.
Yeah, well, historic, prestigious, progressive moment that was. It's just, they made that match, and just along with everything else that's happened with the tag team changes, the WWE title change, the leaked Survivor Series poster, and I know that's kind of defunct now because Roman Reigns has been replaced by Jason Jordan. That's another thing that's happened on Team Raw, so that's different. John Cena has been moved from the special guest referee spot between Mahal and Brock Lesnar to Team SmackDown. But on that lineup, you've also got Charlotte in there. The only two women on the poster are Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. And Ric Flair's 30 for 30 documentary came out on Tuesday this week. It's getting a lot of press. So that could happen.
Yeah.
The only thing I can see against that from happening is that there's the Starrcade house show just after Survivor Series, the week after. And you could play up Charlotte winning it at Starrcade just like her father, Ric Flair, did however many years ago.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the comeback from...
his hometown as well. Great hometown moment.
The Carolinas for Flair, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Like, I could definitely see them going with that. The other comment that we've had a lot as well was that people have pointed out that Jinder is working injured. Because, as we've seen on the house shows, he has his shoulder taped up, but takes it off when he's on TV. And a lot of people saying, like, well, clearly you have to take the title off him because he's working injured. My reply to that was, like, I mean, he just had the best match of his WWE run on Tuesday. So
how much of that was Jinder, though?
Well, no, even so, though. Like, you can't say that he's working injured when he just had a really great match.
Yeah, he was...
He can still work.
I think he's very lightly injured.
Yeah.
But injured to the extent where he can't have proper matches every night like you'd want a champion to do. Because, that's the champion's job. You've got to carry the brand. You put on these good shows every night. Because he didn't wrestle on TV for ages. His last TV match was so long ago. Yeah, the house show matches, he's been in tags, so he's been protected. And if he wrestles at all, so he's definitely been some form of injured. There's been, credible reports about that. But I don't think that was the reason it was taken off him.
Not at all, no.
Nor was it a wellness policy failure. That's the other thing I've seen going around.
He had a carb.
He did, yeah, he did. The guy doesn't eat carbs. That's all that's happening there. God, he seems like... I've been watching Inside the Ropes interviews with him. There's a bit where they talk about the Beastmaster T-shirts, which I thought was fun. But he seems like such a nice guy. Oh, yeah, totally. Well, he was on Jericho's podcast, and he sounded really cool then. It was just after he'd won the championship. And, yeah, he just came across as a really nice dude, as a lot of people do on Jericho's podcast, actually. What would you say to after the... I mean, it does give Cena not a thing to do at Survivor Series, but how about Jinder being on Team SmackDown? I mean, the spot was open for him, I suppose. I certainly could have gone for that. But, yeah, I mean, if you want to put a big marquee name, you don't want to put Jinder in there because he's proven not to be a draw. But I could see where you're going. I think, well, just indulge me for a moment. The 5-on-5 isn't a draw anymore. Like, John Cena's name being added to it, I can't see shifting more tickets alongside what you've already got announced. Kurt Angle wrestling, Shane McMahon, Brock Lesnar. Those are proven ticket movers. Cena is also a proven ticket mover, but I think the Venn diagram is quite shared with everyone else. I don't know how much of an impact Cena's going to have, especially because he hasn't been on TV to build up to it. So why not use this opportunity to reset Jinder? So Jinder, I've lost my title, but I want to be at Survivor Series. I want that last place. Has a qualifying match. Maybe Cena comes back for the qualifying match on SmackDown on the Go Home show. Jinder wins. Ignore that bit. Jinder is in the 5-on-5. The rest of his team hates him because you got Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Shinsuke Nakamura. People who have, well, not Bobby Roode, but those two people have been against him. Shane McMahon doesn't particularly like him. And Jinder has to kind of prove himself and then maybe has a valiant saving effort for SmackDown. Maybe he sacrifices himself. Boom, you've got a babyface out of nowhere. I want to cheer Jinder. Yeah. I think, because seeing him how he is in real life, and the heel thing is always going to be based on some form of xenophobia. Mm-hmm. I like him as a babyface. I've said this since he became champion. I mean, I do remember when he won the championship. You and I said, I think we should just let's see what happens with this. Let's give it a chance. But unfortunately, it didn't work for me. Mainly because I just felt they booked him into boring feuds, and then I mean, as I go into this a little bit on my Saturday video that's going to be going up, but they just never put any stock in him as champion. He was given the same treatment that
Angle was when he first won the championship, with Jericho when he won the championship, Rey Mysterio when he won the championship, Punk when he first won the championship. It's just like, yeah, you're holding this belt, but you're not really the champion. You're keeping this warm for someone else. You're holding this for X reason. With Rey, it was because, Eddie died, so now you're champion. With Jericho, it was like, well, we need someone for Triple H to beat at WrestleMania.
It's begrudging booking.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And I felt that was with Jinder. Jinder was champion because we're expanding into India. We need you to be a representative. Problem was, though, they just didn't... I wish they'd just given him better stuff. Not had Randy Orton beat him clean on TV, pointlessly. Not had John Cena beat him on TV, pointlessly.
I really liked that the Autumn match, though, where he went over. That was such a hot crowd in Canada. Last thing here for the news, and then we'll get on to our mystery Wrestlecrate unboxing. Can't wait. Is Rockstar Spud and Hideo Itami.
Oh, the poor lads.
Poor lads?
Well, poor lads. They've been thrown into that glass ceiling area, the one that you and I were talking about yesterday. So the story is that TNA superstar or former superstar Rockstar Spud.
Call him a wrestler.
All right, wrestler.
Try not to use the word superstar or star.
Oh,
I say
like
talent or wrestler.
I like the word star. But he's a former TNA wrestler, the winner of British Boot Camp Season 1. Rockstar Spud, good friend of WrestleTalk, actually. And he and Hideo Itami from NXT are going to be called... Well, he's going to get called up. And Rockstar Spud has been signed with WWE. They're just waiting for his visa paperwork to go through. And they are both headed towards 205 Live into the Cruiserweight division of absolute death where no one can grow.
I was
going to say, I was waiting for you to try and disagree, and then I was going to ask you for an example.
Well. So
how well did the move work for Kalisto?
There is a glass ceiling to 205 Live.
It's very down here.
Yes, and it's very low. However, it does give certain performers a place to do very well relative to how they would be booked on the main roster. We saw what was happening with Enzo, and I've really only got Enzo Amore as an example here, but we've seen what happened to Enzo Amore on the main roster competing against The Miz. He was just getting buried. But in 205 Live, he feels like such a big deal. I'm a huge fan of him and his work as a heel and the champion. And unfortunately, I see Rockstar Spud, like WWE, I think are going to see Rockstar Spud in the same way. Because of his size, he's very small. Although he is such a good performer, I never forget him screaming, move, at this poor 8-year-old kid at ringside at an indie show I went to all these years ago. That's the moment I fell in love with Spud. But I can't see WWE getting behind him, in the main roster. However, on 205 Live in the Cruiserweights, he could be really good. He's such a good talker. He could be the Birmingham Enzo Amore.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know, man. As soon as someone goes to 205 Live, it's like my worry is they'd put Aleister Black in there because...
Oh, God.
Because that's the way he is. I see a lot of people saying, like, oh, well, Finn Balor's, like, less than £200. Why isn't he in 205 Live? It's like, because he's a superstar. Like, he's a megastar. Don't put him there. I don't know. Like, so I'm glad to see Hideo Itami get pulled up to the main roster. I think he's been in NXT for so long, but a lot of injuries have held him back from there. And it's nice to see Rockstar Spud get a chance up on the big stage. So yeah, I'm happy for both of them. I kind of wish that the Cruiserweights would give it. Like, if the Cruiserweights had been given more, as I once famously said, just do the Cruiserweights better.
Do it better,
just
WWE.
Just do it better. If they had just followed my advice and done it better, then I'd be like, hey, great, this is awesome news. But with the way that the Cruiserweights have been for the last year, Enzo aside, it's like, nah.
Or you rebrand the division to not have a weight limit, and it's just a style of really fun, high-flying wrestling, and then people can cross over between belts and divisions. If it was up to me, Rockstar Spud as a wrestling manager, so he's a wrestler, but he's a manager, but he can also wrestle the matches to get his ass kicked at the end of a feud. That's perfect.
As well, especially
it's a Bobby Heenan style thing.
Like, that's a bad thing, but especially if he can wear one of those really loud suits that he has.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah. He's so good. Anyway, should we get on to the Wrestlecrate unboxing? Okay, I've never done an unboxing video before.
Neither have I.
You'll be my first, and you'll be here to watch it for us. So this is it's a box. This is a box. I like
it's a nice box.
It's a nice box. It's WrestleCrate branded. I like how it has some information
look at this.
on how to do the perfect unboxing, which is useful for us.
Yeah, as novices.
This is our first one.
Yeah.
So it says, ready your crate.
Got it ready.
It's ready. But it's got scissors there, so we've got to open it first. Got it.
Oh, I see. So you open it.
I
Okay,
imagine
right.
so. This has been confiscated many a time into nightclubs and airports.
I was going to say, you're trying to say that into nightclubs, you madman.
Well, sometimes people like people rub it and they go, oh, it's completely blunt. Yeah, walk in. It's not a sharp thing. It's a Swiss Army knife, by the way, podcast listeners. Okay, we've readied the crate, set up the camera. Had that done like 45 minutes ago. Have fun.
Oh, mate, we always have fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we'll green screen that
in later.
We'll work
on that. Yeah.
Share worldwide.
We're going to do that.
Titus worldwide. Okay. So it says fragile, awesome pro wrestling content inside.
Do we open it the other way?
I'm going to open it this way so you can't see what's inside.
Oh, and then we can pull stuff out.
And then we pull stuff out.
Yeah. Okay.
I've cut a hole in the bottom as well where my erect penis will go, and then you'll reach in and grab it.
The old popcorn trick, like it.
Oh,
cool!
Yeah. Yay! Oh, wicked.
Excellent.
So, do we show it to people, or do we just react?
We just react.
We just react. Literally just a reaction video.
Yeah.
So the first one is the hottest seller in wrestling shop when we went to a trip there. It's old. So Mattel make this.
Yes, but it's based on the old Hasbro models.
Figures, yeah. So this is of Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course. Oh my God, that's awesome! When we were at the wrestling shop at the weekend, that was apart from the replica belts. Those were the ones we were looking at.
I was tempted to buy one, but I'm actually going to wait for the next series because that has AJ Styles.
Yeah,
I want an AJ one.
Yeah, because of course you've got the classic figures like the. Well, I guess they were Stone Cold. They
didn't do an Austin bit. It
was like early 90s.
Yeah, so it was like you had Hogan's and your Doinks and your Bossmans. So the first series has Kane, The Rock, Mankind, Sting, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and old school Triple H in the purple tights. And actually, that's going to go up on camera.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley.
Yeah, exactly. Facing off against the Ultimate Warrior.
Where's my ringmaster, Stone Cold Steve?
Yeah, but that's very cool. I really like these. When we were at the warehouse,
we are off to a back. Like, hopefully it can top.
Yeah,
top that.
That's going to look very cool on our set as well.
Don't you dare open that.
No, I won't.
Add it in there now.
Oh, okay.
Don't knock anything over though.
I don't want to cover up No Mercy.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, next up we have.
Oh yeah, what you got?
A keyring.
Oh, lovely stuff.
A plectrum keyring of the Drifter.
That's an
Elias, who doesn't use that
gimmick.
name anymore.
Yeah, old school Elias gimmick. That's cool.
That is cool.
Do you want it?
Well, I figured we'll leave most.
We'll leave it in the
here,
set. Yeah, okay.
And then because we always need props.
Yeah. See if I can try and get that round Sting's head.
Okay. We've got a T-shirt now.
Here. Oh my God, there's more stuff.
There's quite a bit of stuff here.
Yeah.
So this. Oh no! I'm just gonna.
This is the most terrifying T-shirt I've ever seen.
Have you seen who it is?
I haven't yet. No.
Oh right.
I've just seen it's a scary T-shirt.
Well, you'll realise why. Because it's a Gangrel T-shirt.
Oh, amazing!
Whoa, Gangrel the Vampire Warrior.
Look at Gangrel.
Don't know if that's easier to see for the video people, but yeah, that's a large T-shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know what I fit into.
I'm a medium.
Let's see what let's see how we can just both try it on.
It's also...
Or chuck it on the wall.
So
that's brilliant.
So then it's always there. That's a cool T-shirt.
This is a good haul.
It's a very good haul.
Have you got any Gangrel stories? I feel like he's one of your favourite wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've got any good Gangrel stories, though. Or because it's funny enough, he didn't really have a lot of memorable moments in WWE. Everyone remembers the entrance of like him rising out of the fire with either Edge and Christian or the Hardy Boys. But actually, if you go back, it's like, oh, tell me a really good Gangrel feud. You're like, The only one I can really remember of like my favourite Gangrel moments, but it's one I've told on the show before, was when he was wrestling Kurt Angle. And it was when Kurt Angle would roll out the ring, grab the microphone, and says like, no, you're supposed to cheer me because I'm an Olympic hero. And everyone starts booing him. And he did it in a match with Gangrel once, rolled out the ring and grabbed him and said like, oh, don't boo me, come on, he's a vampire.
Gangrel's best moment was from someone else. Next up, we have it's a little badge.
Yeah.
Heavy Crate Champion.
Oh, very good.
So that's a pretty nifty.
That's a nice enamel.
An actual nice looking badge. Not that, I mean, we shouldn't act shocked. This is a quality product. I mean, I like that just for the
pun.
Just for the pun.
Yeah.
Heavy Crate Champion.
Like that. That's very cool.
Oh man, this is good grief.
We've
got double Stone
Cold.
Cold.
We've got double Austin.
Oh, you are gonna love this.
Hang on, I'm trying to not destroy the set. Oh, it's based on Tales from the Crypt.
It's a tiny zine, and it's Tales from the Road, which I believe is a mock of the Tales from the Crypt.
It is indeed. Well, yeah, it's EC comics. Yeah, it's not got the EC stuff.
But done in a wrestling style.
Oh wow, who's in this one? It's only on the front.
Featuring Donovan Dijak with D-I-E.
Soon to be heading to WWE.
Deadlocked Comics.
Oh, so maybe Donovan Dijak wrote
Jacob Bazkill. So I think it's yeah. But that's pretty cool.
Oh, I see. Donovan Dijak. I
Yeah.
see. Very cool. Very clever.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Here we have a 3-month trial in association for UFN, Universal Fight Network. This is just an advert, but it looks pretty cool because Jimmy Havoc's on it.
Yep. And Tommy Dreamer.
Which doesn't get me going as much as Jimmy. Oh, we've got a DVD here. Beyond Wrestling Promotion. And it's Looking California, their event Looking California.
I see.
I imagine it's an event rather than a compilation.
Kyle.
Oh, Kyle O'Reilly's at the top. Michael Elgin in the middle there.
What else? We've got the match listing on the back here.
Read us through. Oh, Deanna Purrazzo,
yes. Okay, so we've got Brandon Watts versus Rex Lawless, David Starr versus Jay Freddy, Deanna Purrazzo versus Jordan Grace, Michael Elgin versus Jonathan Gresham.
Jonathan Gresham is amazing.
Super Cop Dick Justice.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Yeah.
I've only become familiar with his work in the last few months. He's a very short man, but he's so technically skilled that his big man, small man matches are great. I really, really like Jonathan Gresham. I even tweeted him. And I do not do that lightly.
Super Cop Dick Justice versus Jarek 120.
I think Super Cop is
Joey
Ryan. Yeah,
that sounds about right. Is that what he plays in Lucha Underground?
I can't remember.
Because I think he does play a cop in yeah. And we've also got, we've got Dave and Jake Chris, who are currently they're the current TNA Tag Team Champions, or Impact Wrestling Tag Team Champions, as Ohio versus Everything. And they're teaming with Desmond Xavier, who's also in Impact Wrestling, and Zachary Wentz versus Team Pazuzu. Would you say it? Pazuzu? Chris Dickinson, Jack, Mike Dastrick, and Angel Ortiz. Sorry if I butchered any of those names. Lufisto versus Penelope Ford. Hot Sauce, Tracy Williams versus Ace Romero. Kyle O'Reilly versus John Silver. And Donovan Dijak, who we just mentioned earlier, versus Joey Janela. Wow, that's cool.
A good card.
I'm looking forward to watching that.
Okay, and then, we've got so this is a poster, evidently. It's in a tube. What's it going to be?
I'll take that.
Thank you. It is awesome.
Oh, it's my boy
Thunder Liger.
Jushin Liger and his amazing entrance music.
Yes. So this is from Revolution Pro Wrestling. This is from his British J Cup winner 2017. We are
awesome.
going to Rev Pro tonight. We are going to this promotion tonight and tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, for their Global Wars event.
You're very excited to see your boy Suzuki.
And Marty Skrull. And we've got I don't know who that is, but it's signed. Who is that? Queen of Session Style. And she's got it's I can't remember her name. She's very funny. She's a very funny. I think she's from Wales.
In all fairness, if she's got a T-shirt that says Queen of Session Style, I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, she plays an inebriated luchador. Sometimes I've seen her wrestle. Oh, that's cool. She's really funny. She's a very good wrestler. Well, very good comedy wrestler.
And I love a good comedy wrestler.
Yes. And here we have the final thing is the item list. Oh, so it would tell us. It would tell us who that is. Martina Hand.
There you go.
Yes.
The Session Moth.
The Session Moth. Yeah, so she's competed for Progress, ICW, and OTT over in Ireland. And she always has a big bag of cans in tow.
For her sessions.
Yeah, for her drink.
Drink.
Do Americans know what
I
we're
don't
talking
know.
about?
I'm not sure that's something that travels, but going on a session is having a lot of drinks.
Yes, because you just sit there and have a session.
Yeah, as opposed to
drink
the other
into
way.
oblivion.
The other way of keeping it session in the ale term is to have drinks that haven't got a high alcohol percentage, because then you can keep it session, which means you can drink a lot, but you don't get too drunk. You just enjoy the beers.
Well, okay, so here we go. Co-written by now WWE signed Donovan Dijak. Yeah, so it was co-written, that little thing. Cool. Well, that was fun.
That was fun. I enjoyed doing that little that unboxing. That was excellent.
We should have those every month, shouldn't we?
I think we should do.
I think we should too. Now, hey, guess what? We've got a discount code for you.
Oh, of course we have.
If you go over to WrestleCrate.co.uk and use the discount code WTTV, you can get yourself a free DVD or autograph within your first crate. Wow. Isn't that spectacular?
That is spectacular.
There should be a link in the video description below to do that. It's kind of transparent now. We've given the game away.
We nearly got away with all of that.
But it was, I enjoyed doing that, so I do not regret a thing.
Not at all.
That's all we've got time for today, so please click the videos that have just appeared over Luke's face to catch up with the latest WrestleRamble or WrestleTalk news. Support this podcast. Bollocks. Support this channel. It was going well by subscribing. Drive to 500,000 subscribers. Patreon. Leave a comment.
All that jazz.
Luke Owen, Ollie Davis, that was Rambling.